Aloha and welcome to the Savi Life Inspiration Hour on Think Tech Hawaii. Today we're here with a very special guest who I am absolutely inspired by because the idea of the Savi Life Inspiration Hour is to inspire you to go and do all the things that you've always wanted to do. And this is a very inspirational woman who's able to make that possible through her imagination and just living her dreams. So I'd like to welcome Mermaid Kariel, who's an absolute beautiful inspiration to women and girls around the world. Welcome, Kariel.
Thank you. Thank you for having me, Shantelle. I'm excited to be here.
Great. When I was thinking of who to get on my first feature show, I thought, who could I get that's so inspiring that it would make people want to just go out and follow their dreams? And I thought, well, that's Kariel. So being a professional mermaid, how does one even imagine to think to go be a mermaid?
So for me, my childhood dream was actually to become a singer.
Oh.
I wanted to write songs that would inspire people to have an emotional shift in their lives and somehow make a difference through music, which is what I went out to do. As soon as I graduated high school, I went to cosmetology school and then raced off to LA to pursue a singing career. And I was 19 and I got a small record deal, and it wasn't quite what I wanted. The scene was a little bit scary for me as a young girl, and I wasn't ready for that. So I was kind of lost for a while and just really kind of living a life without meaning. You know, I was doing hair, which it was fun, but it wasn't fulfilling my purpose in my heart. And so I was just kind of living and going and not really enjoying every day. And I always loved mermaids. You know, I always colored mermaids when I grew up, and I pretended I was a mermaid at a young age. I made costumes when I was young. Every Halloween I was a mermaid. At age 5, I started making a costume with my grandma and my mother, and they taught me how to sew.
I was wondering how you learned how to sew. So they taught you how to sew, and would you just sew normal kind of costumes? Is that what you were sewing, or what?
I can remember when I was 5 for kindergarten Halloween, we were going to have a festival, and my mom said, "What do you want to be?" And I was like, "What do you mean? I can be somebody else?" Well, I want to be a mermaid then. And
of course.
So I remember going to fabric stores and my mom looking through to try to find a mermaid pattern, and I think she actually had to order one in. We couldn't find one in our small town. And when we got it, we were so excited, and we went to my grandma's house, and she had a huge kitchen table, and I just remember the pattern and everything there, and they're like, "Okay, you see these dotted lines? We need you to cut, you know, the pattern." It's like a very soft tissue paper almost. Cut it on the dotted lines, and they taught me how to pin and needle and the basics of sewing. And I just felt like amazing being able to be a mermaid for a day, basically.
And so did you get your outfit on, and did you go out and be a mermaid?
Oh yeah,
Or
at
did you
school.
feel like a mermaid?
Oh
that
yeah,
you're meant
I
to
was
be
like,
one
this
right at
is my
5?
destiny. But that was just, you know, fun kid play. But like I said, I wanted to be a singer.
So when did the singer, so you wanted to be a mermaid and then to be a singer, so when did that kind of cross over? Or
So when I was living near LA and I got this R&B small record deal, and it wasn't really what I had thought it would be, at least the environment, I was kind of let down and a very lost soul, I'd say. Like just living, doing everything, and just not knowing. And I actually worked for a credit card company at one point, doing cold calling, and I would come home every day crying. I would go in my bathtub and I'd cry and be like, "I hate going to work, it's awful."
did you put your fin on? No, just kidding.
I didn't have one at that point. I didn't have one, but I just remember thinking, man, like, I'm spending 8 hours of my life miserable, you know, doing things just to survive that I don't really enjoy, and I didn't feel like I was bringing any meaning to the world. I just kind of felt lost. And then my grandma, she had cancer, and I went back to visit her because she only had a short time to live. And I just remember being in the hospital room with my colored pencils and feeling helpless, like, you know, I'm not doing anything with my life. I can't help my grandma. Like, I have all these talents and I'm not using them.
Yeah,
Like,
I think
what
probably
a
a lot of people
waste.
can relate to that, definitely.
Yeah, what a waste. And I just felt like, man, this is kind of like wrong of me to be doing, you know, to not be serving some purpose, to not be using my talents, things I was blessed with. And so I just started coloring in that hospital room right there, going, okay, I've colored millions of papers before, but this time I'm going to create something. It's going to be a children's book. I don't know what it's going to be like, but I'm going to start coloring and I'm going to go with it. And it's going to be something that's going to help people. Because I think that's what my soul fuels off of, is making a difference and helping. Because that's what keeps me alive and happy and glowing. So
That you certainly do. So from that moment when you just started drawing, you just knew there was something deeper within that, and that wasn't what you had back in LA?
Yeah. So I just was like, okay, this is where I'm going to go. And I just started coloring the book, and the book is now, printed, and kids all over the world have it. It's called The Brave Mermaid, and it's a story that I illustrated about mermaids. And it's based off of my childhood, basically being very, very shy to sing. And then it teaches kids how to believe in their talent and empower them to go after their dreams. So while coloring and creating this book, I kind of went on my own life journey at the same time and created myself as Mermaid Kariel. And so everything kind of developed, and I thought, gosh, what am I going to do with this book? How am I going to share it to the world? I know I'll be a mermaid, and I'll read it to kids, and that'll be a blast, and I've always wanted to be a mermaid. And then I started making my very first mermaid tale back in 2009, and got a little obsessed with that and kind of put the book away for a while and had fun being a mermaid and entertaining as a mermaid. And eventually I brought the book back in and started combining the book and my shows together like I had dreamed.
So did you actually create the tale before you went and became a mermaid, or did you get a tale and then start making your own tales? Like when you did your first mermaid?
I had gotten some neoprene and just started painting my own tale. I didn't know how I was going to make it. And that's another thing, like with the book, like to be inspirational, I guess. I think people get lost, like they're like, I don't know what I want to do. I think that sometimes we don't know what we want to do. Sometimes it's just about finding what you like to do, what's fun, and doing that, and then it will kind of unravel. As long as you do it every day and you talk to people about it and you love it, something will come about it. So like my book, I started coloring the first page not knowing the storyline, but as I started coloring, I started developing the storyline along with it.
So when you say coloring, you actually drew them as well, didn't you? So you drew them and colored them. And were you always good at art, or because they're quite nicely drawn? I'm very impressed.
Yeah, that was my hobby growing up, was coloring and singing and really everything in the arts, sewing.
Which is really interesting, because in the arts, people often think there's not a profession. And I know that there's a lot of people who are in the professions, but probably you can relate to this being a creative soul yourself, that it's not in the box of what you should do when you grow up. So it's neat to think.
Yeah, well, you can't be a starving artist all your life. You've got to have a career. Yeah, I've heard that a lot.
A lot. And I think with your ability to just blow it out of the water, I mean, when I first took a leap of faith to create Savi Life, I thought, if there's mermaids in the world making a living being a mermaid, which I didn't know you at that time at all, I mean, we only met recently, surely that I can go out and create a business that would inspire people if someone can get paid to be a mermaid. And now I realize it's actually a profession. There's quite a few. It's not just one or two. It's actually a known profession. So, I mean, if you believe in something, you just make a way, I suppose. That's what you did.
Yeah, that's what I think, too, is, besides what I'm doing, the inspiring part is that it's such a cute job, and a magical job. And when I started creating it, people were like, oh, honey, that's so cute. You just have fun with that one. You're just so pretty. But, when you just really keep going and doing something and believing in it yourself, most of all, I think you can turn anything into something, especially nowadays with social media. I mean, you have the world's eyes easily being able to see what
And
you're
that's
creating.
exactly it. And we are going to come back in just a moment and tell you about how she actually made a business of being a mermaid. So it's not just pretty and cute, it's actually a profession. We'll see you soon.
Aloha! Hello, my name is Patrick Bratton. I'm host at Global Connections here at ThinkTech Hawaii. We broadcast live every Thursday at 1 p.m. We bring Hawaii to the world and the world to Hawaii, talking about international events and various things of interest to the audience. Please join me. I look forward to talking with you and having you get to meet some of my guests. Aloha.
Aloha, I'm Kaui Lucas, host of Hawaii is My Mainland, here on ThinkTech Hawaii every Friday at 3 p.m. We address issues of importance for those of us who live here on the most isolated landmass on the planet. Please come join me Fridays at 3 p.m. Mahalo.
Aloha! How you doing? It's me, Angus McTech, wishing you to welcome and join us to see us on Hibachi Talk on Think Tech Hawaii. Join my co-hosts, Gordo the Tech Czar and Andrew the Security Guy, every Friday from 1300 to 1345. We look forward to seeing you. We'll talk tech and we'll have some wee bit of fun. And remember, let your wing gang free wherever you be. Aloha!
That's talent you should interview.
Welcome back. Thank you for being here. Just to let you know as well, the Savi Life Inspiration Hour will be on every Wednesday at 11 a.m. live, and you can also find the replays on the Think Tech Hawaii website as well as YouTube, and you can find me at Savi, SAVILIFE.com, as well as all the social media channels are on there for Savi Life and Savi Chicks. And it's all about inspiring and empowering women and girls around the world to be the best they can be, and it's for men as well, but really it's dedicated to those little girls with big dreams. So back to another little girl with big dreams. I think we're all always going to be little girls with big dreams at the end of the day, swimming in our little water here.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool being live from underwater, isn't it?
What?
So back to the actually being a mermaid now. So did you have to learn to swim, or how do you learn to be a when you started making a business of it, how do you actually learn to be a mermaid?
So I didn't know I was making a business out of it when I was creating my tail. I just knew I was going to have fun in that mermaid tail, and I was going to get that experience that I'd always dreamed of, what it was like to swim in the ocean in a mermaid tail and really be as real of a mermaid as physically possible. So I created a tail for 4 months. People thought I was nuts because it was a full-time job. Yeah. They'd come over to my house and I'd be painting teeny tiny little scales on this giant sheet of neoprene, and they're like, man, you have dedication, I'll give you that, but what are you making there? We just don't get it. I'm like, just wait. I have a feeling it's gonna work. Anyway, that's the crazy thing, is I was binding my legs together with a fin. I had no idea how to make one. I just spent a lot of time at Home Depot, and believe it or not, my first mermaid tail was constructed of a lot of toiletry parts. Yeah. So, this thing is interesting, but aesthetically, it looked real, and it was amazing. I still have it. I keep that one. I should have brought it, but
we'll bring you another time. We'll do another little show.
Anyway, I tested it in the water, and it really worked, and I swam fast, and it was fun. And
so how did you do the motion? How did you know or had you practiced since you were a little girl? How did you know to do the mermaid?
Yeah,
You're just a natural mermaid, I guess.
Exactly. The only swimming I could do before I was a mermaid was the mermaid swim and the doggy paddle.
This is why I think I'm also meant to be a mermaid, because when it comes to actually swimming, 1, 2, 3, lift that way, not happening. But I love the water and underwater and breaststroke and doggy paddle. I can be in there for days.
Perfect. You're meant to be a mermaid then.
Yeah.
So yeah, I got in and I swam great, and it was very natural to me. What I did do later on was take free diving courses and learned how to hold my breath properly and do some professional things so that I could become more professional at it and dive to deeper levels and hold my breath for a long amount of time safely.
And so when was your first experience of actually being a professional mermaid? How did that come about?
It came as soon as my tail was done. I want to say a month within my tail being finished. I was still doing hair at that time. I did it out of my home, and I only did women. So, I've had this thing. I've always had this thing with empowering girls as well, and I really enjoyed having the women around me in my life and, talking to them about their lives. So anyways, I had some really amazing people, like a networking team basically of women that were already watching the process of my tail being made. Every time they'd come to my house to get their hair done, they'd see this tail for months. So as soon as I was done, you know, that networking helped me tremendously to meet the right people. And I lived right across the street from a Marriott hotel. So I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna go walk myself over here in my mermaid tail and let's do something with this. It's fabulous, people love it. You know, there wasn't mermaids around everywhere like there is now. So I'd just be holding the thing and people would be like, what is that? Or I'd be swimming and people would be like,
she escaped the ocean, what's happening?
They'd freak out. They'd freak out thinking it was real, you know, because they hadn't seen that except for in movies. So anyway, that's what I did was I got an appointment with the general manager at the JW, and, you know, lucky for me, he was really into the idea, you know.
Other people would have looked at you and gone, she lost
he
her
was,
mind.
he was into the idea.
You spent 4 months creating what? And you want to do what?
Yeah. So he pulled in all the managers from all over the hotel, and we had a board meeting. I mean, with like a giant table and managers everywhere with degrees and, you know, all that fancy stuff like I had probably only seen on TV. And here I am, like this really girly girl. Like, I love pink, and I'm making mermaid tails, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is so professional. Oh my gosh, wow. And anyway, so we just kind of sat down and we collaborated on an idea of how we could make this concept be enjoyable for guests. And so one of good friends now, still to this day, Robin Deshay, she was the manager at the spot, the JWE Helani, and she's like, you're really fit from this mermaiding. I think we should do a fitness class. And I'm like, okay. You know, at that point, I was just willing to do anything mermaidish, you know, like, okay. So that's how it started, was Fin to Fitness, which was started, I think, late 2009.
So what is it, fin to fitness?
Fin to Fitness. I'm actually teaching a Fin to Fitness class privately tonight.
Ooh,
so
that's
it's still
exciting.
going, but it's not my driving force, you know, because I much prefer to entertain younger kids and families. But it's still pretty amazing to be with, you know, 6 or so women and inspiring them to swim like a mermaid and kind of bring back a childhood fantasy.
That's amazing fitness as well. I mean, your abs, like everything, your legs, there's nothing you wouldn't really work out, your arms.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if it was mermaiding alone. I think it's a bunch of things, but I'm about 100 pounds now, and I would like to be a little bit heavier, but I was 140. So
Wow.
Yeah, so I don't know if it's Fin to Fitness alone. I think probably running a company and having like the daily stressors of that kind of thing too.
We're always loving inspiring people to be healthy because that's a big part of Savvy Chicks. Now so you do some running as well as the mermaid training, just because on the day-to-day I think it really improves your mindset. So what does a professional mermaid do like yourself?
I stretch, and I actually love roller classes. It kind of stretches like the fascia. So that's probably really all I do, stretching in the roller. But I swim a lot. Like I mermaid a whole lot. So I think that's enough for me. And I do eat very healthy.
What sort of things does a mermaid eat other than seaweed shakes?
I've always kind of, probably when I was like in my early 20s, I decided to eat kind of like a natural diet, so I would eat things made by the earth more. I never eat fat-free because of chemicals. I just stopped way back when. So I just let it be fat. If it's fat, that's fine. It's probably more natural that way. I try not to do processed stuff. It just became a part of the way I eat. I do eat meat. I love meat. I'm not a vegetarian mermaid. But yeah, I just try to eat what's made from the earth, basically.
I think that's probably the best thing to do because it's natural and it's healthy. That's what I try to follow as well. So I just had to slip that in there. But back to the business side. So as far as you started being a mermaid and you would do the fin to fitness classes, and then how did you start getting your books and reading to the, because I know you're very passionate about reading to the girls at the pool and doing different parties and things like that?
So I started working at another hotel next door, which is where I would do my pool show with the kids and the families, and I would take them on an imaginary adventure that would expand their mind to ocean conservation and bring out their talents. Like I'd have all the little kids like get brave enough to stand up in front of the whole crowd and sing or do their talent, whatever
Even the
it may
shy
be.
ones?
Yeah.
That's good.
Because I bring the whole group together as a team, and I feel like I boost everybody up through the whole interactive process. But at that time, my book wasn't done, so I would just tell my story, basically. And through telling the story of the book without the physical book there, doing it so often, just with hundreds and hundreds of kids, I was able to see what the kids would hold on to, what they would grasp, what they liked. And that's how I ended up writing the story the way that it is. I changed it a ton before I ended up printing it, based on those physical interacting times with the kids. Like they really showed me how to write the story.
That's nice. I think it's that interaction that actually feeds the inspiration and the soul to bring to life what's meant to be, rather than sometimes you try and do it from your own self, but it's just that interaction that goes, this is what people are thinking or feeling, and that can help them. So I think that's why your book is so engaging and connecting with people, and they can relate no matter who they are to the story, which is very cool.
Yeah, to inspire people. Like I said, sometimes you have, like, some people are lost. They can't find their passion. They're like, I don't know what my passion is, which is one of the things that like really kills me. Like, oh man, you got to find your passion. But I think what's important is just to find what you like what you enjoy, and then go with that. So if you like growing daisies, then start growing daisies and sharing your daisies online and just go crazy with daisies. And you may not know what your life career could be, including daisies, but if you just go, it'll happen. So like the book, I sat and I colored my first illustration. I didn't know what the storyline was going to be. But life has a way of showing you if you believe in it and you keep doing it.
Yeah.
And what I did, I found is I went to elementary schools, and I would read the book I thought I was writing, and I would have the kids draw pictures of what they imagined while I was telling it. So it kind of started opposite. I had this idea of what I was going to write in the book. The kids showed me the illustrations, and then the writing ended up changing too. So really the whole book was inspired by kids. And the same thing with mermaiding. Like, I just started mermaiding, and it just started to spiral and
So you
develop.
sort of knew what you wanted to do in the rough direction, and you were happy to kind of go and improvise along the way, such as long as you're going in your soul direction or your purpose direction.
Yeah. As long as I kept in mind, my purpose was, whatever I'm going to do, I'm going to inspire people. It's going to help people. Whatever I'm touching, whatever I'm talking about, whatever it is that I'm going to be creating, the purpose of it is going to be to make a difference in families and kids' lives, or anybody's life.
Yeah. Anyone who has an imagination, just to use it and
to encourage other people.
Yes. With your book, did you publish it yourself, or was that hard to do? And
I did. I self-published. I just decided that was probably the route for me to go right now. I would be open, maybe to sell the book later on, but for now I have Mermaids on a Mission to Read, which is another avenue that's spiraled, which is now that there is so many mermaids all over the world, why not have them read my book and do this show where they're at? Why not let that inspirational message be carried out, everywhere? There's mermaids everywhere. And if they need something to read or something to inspire, if they share a similar,
because they can actually make money from doing that as well, can't they? So how do you have that set up, just in case there's any mermaids watching?
Well, if there is any mermaids on a mission that want to join the team, basically you get the book, you read it, and the book has so many things inside of it that you could grab onto. It has ocean conservation and bullying and rising up and not being scared of what other people think. There's just so many things in this small little book. So if really whoever takes the book and wants to read it, they can read more into certain areas that they're passionate about. And then me and my team teach them how to read and how to entertain when reading the book. And they can go do their mermaid events, or if they just like reading in libraries without a tail, that's perfectly fine too, as long as they want to share a good message. They take the book, they can read the book, make an impact on their communities, and then they can sign and they can share the book or sell the book, and they can make, money that way. And they can get paid to read the book at schools, at libraries, or just donate their time too. So
Very exciting. Well, we've got more exciting things coming up. We're about to take a break here, so stay tuned. If you did want to check out Mermaid Kariel on the break, it's mermaidkariel.com. Pop back here because we're live, and we'll look forward to seeing you shortly.
Aloha, my name is Kirsten Baumgart-Turner, and I'm the host of Sustainable Hawaii at thinktechhawaii.com. We air live on the internet and also on Oceanic Channel 16. I'd invite you to come for a fresh new show every Tuesday from 12 to 1 o'clock. I try to bring on guests that give us a different viewpoint on aspects of sustainability in Hawaii, as well as trying to unpack some of the difficult concepts of measuring and achieving sustainability, particularly with regard to sustainable economic growth and prosperity in Hawaii. Please join us every Tuesday from 12 to 1 p.m. Mahalo, aloha.
Welcome back. Thank you so much for tuning into the Savi Life Inspiration Hour. I hope you will come back and visit every week with amazing guests like our first one, Mermaid Kariel here. Now, back to our exciting conversation about using your imagination and doing whatever it is that you want to do. Your dreams are possible. Mermaid Kariel is an absolute proof of this. So if she can make a living being a mermaid, you can go out there and follow whatever it is that you're passionate about. And that's the whole message of today and of the show. So back to Kariel. Now, I want to know some of the challenges. Like, what have been some of the biggest challenges in pursuing this crazy, as they might say, or what are you doing kind of business?
So the biggest challenges for me looking back on the past years, I think first was doubt in others, and having to rise above that. People telling you that's hard, that's a crazy idea, that'll never work. You're going to have those people in your life, probably no matter what you're trying to create. Just the doubters is what I'd call them. And you got to rise above the doubters. And for me, there was a few times I probably stopped and went, oh, this is crazy. What am I thinking? But then there was like, no, I love mermaids, and I'm at least going to feel what it's like to be a mermaid. So there's that. And then there is a big one. The thing about being passionate about your work is that I think you can easily slip into becoming a workaholic, because what other people don't understand that go to work and don't enjoy it is they don't enjoy it. So when they're off, they're like ready to do all these other things. But for me, I'm like, I just love mermaids and everything about mermaids. So when I'm working, I'm having fun. Even when I get bricks, thrown at me, like the daily.
Grab them, throw them back.
I'm just like, oh, this brick hurts getting thrown at me. Somebody taught me that. It's like the things that happen to you daily that
who
just
would throw bricks at a mermaid?
that just stink, because it's a business. So obviously every day there's probably something getting thrown at you that you're like, oh, this is annoying. Like, why do I have to deal with this? My work is supposed to be fun. But oh yeah, it's real life, and there's people, and people can be
Mermaid
difficult.
peace.
Yeah. So there's just obstacles, but you're passionate about it, so those bricks aren't so easily able to hurt you. You're like, okay, gosh, this is annoying to have to do at this moment, but I really am passionate about what I'm doing, so I'm still loving it. And that was hard for me at one point. I got so into what I was doing because I was having so much fun. I wanted to do it all the time, and that's where balance comes in.
I was going to say, how do you balance being because you're also a mother and a wife, so how do you balance that?
Yeah, this was like, I think 2 years ago, I went to my husband, I'm like, I don't feel like I can relate to people anymore. Like, I don't.
Because you're a mermaid, no one can relate to you.
I don't feel like I'm enjoying conversations with people anymore. And he's like, babe, you're gonna have to come outside of the mermaid bubble. you got to get interested in other things. Like, you know, not everyone's so into mermaids. I'm like, I know, I'm just having a hard time not talking about mermaids. And I'm like, hi, how's your day? So do you like mermaids? You know, like, so that was kind of a small challenge for me. I was like, you know what, this is going down a bad path. Like, I gotta open my world a little bit outside of mermaids. And that's, I think, what happens when you're so passionate about work, is it can over-consume you,
But I don't necessarily know that's a really bad thing. I suppose you have to pull back a little bit so you can engage, but there's nothing not more feeling of aliveness than when you talk to other people about things that you're both inspired by. It just lights you up and creates more momentum for both of you in your lives. So I don't necessarily think that's a horrible thing, but it is challenging to try to be balanced.
It's not horrible.
No, I understand exactly.
But yeah, no, it was that was my personal challenge. Like, okay,
how am I going to be a normal person and not talk about mermaids and what fish I saw today?
Yeah. So, okay, you got to get out of the
So
mermaid
what
life
are
all
the
the time.
big highlights, though? Because I know you've done some pretty neat things, and I actually saw you did something with the Super Bowl, and...
You know, looking back, there's just been so many fun adventures that I've been able to have while being a mermaid. I've been able to meet, you know, like you said, like Super Bowl, like things that people just would go crazy to be able to meet some of these.
You never would have thought
all-star
that when you're
athletes.
painting your little tail for
Yeah.
4 months by yourself in your house.
Yeah, you know, all those things are fun, but I think honestly the best memories for me are just like the little things that kids will say, or just knowing, like for instance, when I work at the Marriott Beach Club, I've worked there for years now, and it's a timeshare. So I've gotten to watch these little kids grow up, and they remember you, and they come back. Like, I have these twins that are coming, and they're so cute, and they say, "It's my mermaid," you know, and like, I don't know how old they were. They were babies, and now they look forward to seeing me, and I get to watch them grow up, and I know that I made an impact in their lives. So
That's neat to see the impact over time. That's really neat to see how you've improved their confidence. But back to the shows. So how does this actually work? Because I understand you have a team as well. You've got your team of mermaids, and you do shows at different hotels. Is that any hotel, or how does that all work?
Yeah, so I have my team now. It kind of grew more than I could handle, and it started with my very best friend. She'd start filling in for me as Mermaid Kariel, and then eventually, you know, I started bringing on other mermaids, and there's 3 of them here in Hawaii, and they all have their own unique special talent and passion, so it's quite fun. So now we have like a bunch of different ways we can entertain, more than just.
So what kind of way, like what do some of them do? What do you do? What's your specialty, or what does a mermaid do at the pool, at the Marriott, or any other hotels that might be interested in having a mermaid?
Well, we have the mermaids here, and then we have one in Florida now, Mermaid Kariel, and she's similar to me. Like,
yes,
she's
I've seen her. She's very engaging. She's very sweet too.
She's really into the kids and really pulling them in, and all about self-confidence, and really more anti-bullying, I think. I'm more confidence, and she's you know, making sure kids aren't getting bullied. Super sweet. So, you know, we're working on hotels over in Florida. Right now she's in Mexico at 3 different resorts.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
So she's just traveling as a mermaid. She's just traveling, swimming around as a mermaid, essentially, right now.
Yeah, well, get this. She actually is the clothing designer for some of the housewife shows. So she's like a very successful clothing
Designer.
Not a designer, she dresses them.
Oh, right. A stylist.
Yeah, and she has her own TV show as well for styling, a weekly show. And she was like, but I want to be a mermaid. So that's kind of interesting, because she's already doing something really neat, but yet she
fits that in.
She wants to be a mermaid.
Well, because you've created the book, you do the Fin to Fitness, you're actually doing performances at hotels as well as reading the books to kids, but you actually make the tails. I wanted to make sure we touched on that. So you custom make tails for people.
Yeah.
How do you get the inspiration? Say if I wanted a tail, how would you know what kind of tail to make for me?
Well, if you had no idea what kind of tail you wanted, I'd probably dig in a little bit, and I'd be like, well, what's your favorite color? Are there fish? Are there flowers? I've designed a tail based off of a rose before. Someone loved roses. I'd try to get to know you a little bit, and I'd come up with colors first, and then I'd come up with a design. If you're kind of a wild, crazy person, I might do stripes and spots. If you know you're more relaxed, or you know.
So what does mine look like so far?
Let me guess. What is your favorite color?
Pink.
Me too. What else? Are you more magical? Are you a fashionista?
I'm a beach girl.
A beach girl?
Yeah.
Do you like yellow?
Yeah, I like yellow.
I might do like a sunrise, something pink.
I like it. I like it. I like it. Now, I want to share some of your inspiration with everyone, because your inspiration and when it comes to finding your talent, if you don't know one, or really bringing out the best in people, what is some advice that you can give to those who might not know their talent and who want to follow their dreams?
If you don't know your talent yet, you will. Everybody has one. I am a big believer in that. Find what you like to do. You gotta like to do something. Like I said, like if you just like to make daisies or grow
But it's what you
daisies.
like to do most, isn't it? What you
Yeah.
love to do. It's more than like it. I find it's just that what you really just lose time in doing.
Here's a good example is my husband. When we were dating, he had a huge passion to fly. He's been flying planes since he was 12 years old, but he did real estate, and he liked some of the aspects of real estate. Like he liked helping people find a home. Obviously money can be quite good in real estate. So he likes certain things about it, but the day-to-day stuff, he was just frustrated all the time, and I would be like, can't you just do something you like to do? And he's an engineer by trade, so he used to be a mechanical engineer. So he is not an artsy kind of person at all. So this is another perspective. Like, isn't there something you can do that you like? Why don't you just fly planes? Why don't you be a pilot? You love to fly planes. He's like, no, I can't do my hobby because then I won't like my hobby as much, And I'm like, So I think
That's how it came about.
but that's like a,
Yeah.
a silly way to think about it. I think to think that you're not gonna enjoy your hobby anymore if you start doing it
Because
all
I mean,
the
you're
time.
proof that you love your hobby and you just still want to do it every day.
Yeah. But anyway, so he ended up becoming a pilot, and he loves being a pilot. Like he loves to fly. He's doing it every day, and even though it's like just up, down, up, down, up, down, and he might be doing the same routes all the time, because it was his passion, he loves working now. So
It just goes to show, though, you can go from one complete opposite to another, and it doesn't have to be a creative thing. It can be to be a pilot. It's just to follow whatever it is that's for you, because what's for you and what's for me, even though we might be similar, are still slightly different, and allowing people to do what inspires them. So that's awesome. And what are you doing? What's coming up now?
right now we're focusing a lot on opening new hotels. We're trying to launch a show in Vegas.
Ooh, that would be fun.
So if Vegas, anybody in Vegas, you're listening, we haven't quite nailed down the place yet. We have an amazing performer. I have a mermaid named Casey in Vegas, who is an amazing singer and actress.
I know someone watching this who has a brother-in-law in Vegas.
Oh yeah, she works at Legends, and she does all kinds of stuff, and she's got a good heart. And that's, for me, most important is the people around me that I'm working with. I want them to have good morals and really kind heart. So we're trying to launch more shows because I want the message.
What about here in Hawaii as well? Would you want to launch more shows here?
Yeah, I would love to. Like I said, there's 3 mermaids here, so I would love to grow those shows a little bit more. So the shows, and then I'm working on so inspiring people. Like I said, sometimes you don't know where all this is going. I know I'm building all these pillars of different mermaid facets. I got the book, I got mermaids, I have shows, I have tales. But where is this all going? Well, it just hit me this year. Just all of a sudden, in the middle of the blue, I realized how I was going to tie it all together and like be done with it, but it all just made sense what I'm doing. So I invented something, which I'm having patented this year, and it's going to tie everything together, and I can't talk about it until it's patented.
Because it's not patented,
Yeah,
okay.
'cause it's not
We'll have you on
patented.
another show very soon, because
Yes.
we're about to wrap up.
Okay.
But for those of you who want to know what's about to be patented, we will have Mermaid Kariel back for another show. Just wanting to say thank you so much for coming. I'm sure you have inspired a lot of people out there today with your honesty and authenticity, because that's what it's all about. Just, being really honest and caring about people, which you do so well. For those of you watching, please do stop by Mermaid Kariel's website, as well as savvylife.com. If you're watching the replay, please share it as well. You can always share that YouTube link and share the love and inspiration, because I know that you, your sister, your mother, even your husband might have something that they don't believe is possible for them, and our hope for you is that you can find what it is that inspires you and pursue it like we have. So Thank you so much for tuning in to Think Tech Hawaii, Savi Life, the Inspiration Hour, and we'll really look forward to seeing you next week.